Ho! Good morning, everybody. Jeff DeVerter's back for another Cloud Talk Live. Everyone, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here, and I am bouncing my desk. It looks like an earthquake over here. Well, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Please introduce yourself in the comments. Well, they're going to show up on my screen over on the left-hand side. I don't know why I'm pointing over there. You point your comments down below. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you are. I'm so glad that you are here. Guys, if you want to get a hold of us over here at the program, just send an email to solve@rackspace.com. And that will come to me. It'll come to producer Daniel, hit the whole crew, which is fantastic. Hey, we see people showing up over there on the side of the screen. That is great. Looks like Drew's here. Welcome to the program, everyone. This month, this episode starts an amazing month. Did you know it's National Women's History Month here in the U.S. And as such, we have taken the point to dedicate every single episode of Cloud Talk Live to women in technology. Folks, it is going to be an amazing month here. We have a group of folks from senior executives, folks who are helping the CEO get things done. I have the chief marketing officer coming in, got folks from outside the company, inside the company, but it's all about the massive impact that women are making in technology today. And hopefully, maybe some of you will share these with your daughters and let them know that technology is an amazing place to have a career. Michael is here from Houston. Sushil, sorry, from India is here. Vashil. Clark Kent's here from San Antonio. Clark, you're a regular now. We're going to have to go out for coffee or something. Get a taco. So this is going to be an amazing month. I hope that you will spread the word as I shine the light on some great women doing some great stuff here inside of technology. All right, Daniel's brought comments up. That's really cool. And I will be posting, probably do it on Thursday, a list of some of the folks who are going to be here throughout the month of March. Philippines. Hey, we got Raquel from the Philippines here. I don't know if I've had Philippines on the program before, so I'm glad that you are here. All right, let's get a couple of these buttons in place. Let's push forward once. All right, so guys, as you know, all of these programs come out on the Cloud Talk podcast, the audio portion of it as well. And, Susan, you like Laura? Laura is awesome. We are so fortunate to have her here. Susan, it's great to see you again. All of these, of course, we're coming out on video on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, but we take the audio from all of these and put them on the Cloud Talk podcast. So folks, you can, if you miss one of these, you can find it on YouTube or wherever. But if you just want to listen to the audio, just head on over to rackspace.com/solve/97, and you'll get all of the links that are here, all the things that I talk about, as well as the ability to listen to the audio, or you could just subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. You can find Cloud Talk, so go check that up. Bill, Clark, we're going to have to go do that. Paramavir, I am well. Thank you for asking. I hope you are doing well as well. All right, let's press on. Folks, you know we have a worldwide audience here on the Cloud Talk Live program, and we would be remiss if we didn't call out our friends over in Ukraine. Our thoughts and prayers are, of course, with them as we continue to go about our day. And I also want to call out, if you're not familiar, the tool that we use for coming to you live is a tool called Restream.io. And if you are even remotely interested in any kind of live stream or even online recording, this sort of stuff, I would recommend this tool, especially because it is a Ukrainian-based organization. So while leadership is, I think, here in America, they are also, they have lots of employees over in Ukraine. So our thoughts and prayers are with their employees and their families as they deal with this horrible, horrible situation. All right. With that, let's build on this. I want to talk to you. Of course, all of you are, this is a global audience, but we have lots from the U.S. In the U.S., we have this little organization, part of the government, called the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Now, guys, this is an organization that is a partnership and geared to be a partnership between government and private industry to help private industry be more secure. Now, as part of what's going on inside of Ukraine, they have put out their elevated threat level, and it's called Shields Up. If you're not familiar with this, you can head over to CISO.org org/shields up and learn all about it. They have on there, they'll detail out exactly what Shields Up actually means. There are major sections. They want to help you reduce the likelihood of damaging cyber intrusion, take steps to quickly detect any potential intrusion, ensure that your organization is prepared to respond if an intrusion does occur, and then, of course, maximize your organization's resiliency should there be an intrusion and something that you have to deal with. Now, they recommend all of this for organizations of all sizes. I can't stress that enough, all sizes. Now, in that first section, that reduce the likelihood of damaging cyber intrusion, I'm going to go over some of the bullet points that are there. I recommend you go over and read all of this information. You'll find it over at rackspace.com/solve/97. We have links to all of this. But in that first section, 1, validate that all remote access to your organization's network and privileged or administrative access requires, wait for it, 2-factor authentication. Please help your organizations be secure and enable 2-factor authentication on everything. Ensure that your software is up to date, prioritizing updates for known exploits. By the way, if you go over to the website, you'll find that there are links to all of these known exploits and vulnerabilities that have been identified by CISA.org, C-I-S-A. Confirm that your organization's IT personnel have disabled all ports and protocols not necessary. And that's if your organization is using any cloud services, ensure that your IT personnel have reviewed and implemented strong controls outlined by CISA's guidance. Sign up for free cyber hygiene services. These are government-provided services here in the U.S. If you're not comfortable with running U.S. tools, I'm sure your governments will provide something similar to this. So, guys, I can't recommend this enough. All right, so that's what's going on. Shields up, everyone. With that, let's move on over into This Week in Cloud and see what the news is. All right, it starts with hybrid versus multi-cloud for federal agencies. This was in an article from a magazine called FedTech Magazine. Of course, not a real magazine. It's a online magazine. Maybe it is a printed one. Who knows? Anyway, I got the electronic version. You can find a whole copy of this if you go over to rackspace.com/solve/97. There will be links there. Farad, welcome. Glad that you're here. Malkit, glad you're here. Mexico's here. Glad to see Mexico. All right, so let's continue into this. Sorry, I got distracted. So Deloitte did in this article, they talk about how Deloitte did a study comparing 2020 to 2021 and the amount of spending that's happening inside of clouds on a federal government level. Fiscal 2020, it was a $6.9 billion spend, but in 2021, it was actually 8.1. So $1.2 billion increase just in 1 year. Guys, multi-cloud is where it's at. There's some really great content inside of this article. And in there, if you go into there, follow through into that link, you'll find there is a multi-cloud and hybrid cloud guide that is provided by the GSA, the General Services Administration here in the U.S., and it is great. It is a great resource. Even if you're not in the federal space, go look at that. If you're concerned or curious about what multi-cloud and hybrid cloud looks like, there's some great pros and cons. There's some great things to think about there. You can find links to not only this article, but also that multi-cloud and hybrid cloud guide I've provided for you on rackspace.com/solve/97. This is the 97th episode. Can you believe that? Next week is 100. We're doing something special. Make sure you come on over on next Tuesday. Gert is in Houston today. Gert, I'm glad that you are here. Hey, somebody is asking producer Daniel for a link to that /97. Would you mind dropping it in the chat? It looks like on LinkedIn. Please. Thank you. Hey, a Cyber Risk Alliance, the CRA, did a little study. They interviewed more than 300 North American IT and cybersecurity decision makers, and they found that ransomware is sneaking in from the remote workers. Who knew? So this is a really big issue, especially with all of us running home for the pandemic, and now working from home has become kind of the norm for as many people as who want it. But those insecure networks are a great influx point and attack vector for the bad guys. So go read about that. We have some great partners here at Rackspace. I love me some Zscaler. We love several other folks who do some amazing work in this space to help secure your remote network. So go check those out, folks. All right. With that, let us move on to, I'm showing you things you're not supposed to see. There we go. That's how we do this. It's on to cloud releases. I'm going to buzz through this because we are running long, and I'm so excited to get Natalie up here, our first Women in Tech for the whole Women in Tech month. All right. It starts with AWS Q&A bot adds support for Genesys Cloud Contact Center. So if you run Contact Center, chances are Genesys is there. Of course, AWS has a Contact Center solution, but if you're all in on Genesys, well, now AWS solution has updated their Q&A bot, an open source, multi-channel, multi-language conversational chat bot on Amazon Lex that responds to your customers' questions, answers, and of course provides feedback. So go check that out. It's a new feature from AWS. And let's move on here to Azure. What's new from Azure? General availability, utilize multiple backups per day for Azure files in Azure Backups. This is a great thing. It tightens up that return to operation mode, which is super great. So go check that out. And then it's over to Google Cloud for their update. Now, Google Run for their container instances now supports less than one CPU, which I think is fantastic because sometimes you just need a container to do a little bit of work and you don't need to pay for the whole container for what, or a whole processor for what you're doing. Of course, you have to pay for the whole container. So go check that out. And that's what's new from the cloud providers. That's the wrong. I didn't update that one. It's /97, folks. This is episode 97. All right, let's move on to the job of the day, folks. All this talk about security. Let's talk about our application security engineer 3 role. I would love for you to head over to rackspace.com/solve/97 and check this job out. We are hiring at Rackspace. In this role, you'll have the opportunity to lead Rackspace's application security program by developing and coordinating strategic projects and initiatives, including capabilities such as static and dynamic application security, testing, app penetration testing, and our bug bounty program, and supporting and establishing the reporting and process and automation to make remediation of any findings above successful. So if you are a cyber person and you love working in that space, I would highly recommend you head over to rackspace.com/solve/97, where you'll find all of the links for everything that I've talked about so far, as well as a link to go learn more about this job, our cybersecurity engineer 3. And also feel free to go out. I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast. Guys, I've been recording new episodes like a nut. I was up last night talking to one of our engineers, IoT engineers over in Singapore. That's going to be an incredible episode. This afternoon, I record an episode with Rackspace's new CTO, so you're going to get to know him. But the only way to get to know him and to get to know all this other stuff is to subscribe to the podcast. So wherever podcasts are found, you can subscribe to Cloud Talk. It'll get you access to not only to the podcast I just mentioned, but also the audio from these events here. All right, so that's the job of the day. We're on to our cloud discussion. It is my so pleasure to bring up to you and get to have a conversation with Natalie Silva, who is our Director of Analyst and Public Relations here at Rackspace. So let's, Daniel, bring Natalie up to the stage. There she is. Natalie, welcome to Cloud Talk Live.
How are you?
I'm doing so well. How are you today?
Good. Happy to be here.
So glad that you are here. Hey, I am now just able to see some of the chats that are coming in. Christian Perez, former Racker, so glad that you are here. Ukrainian-based software, love the show. Thank you so much. Please come on back. We would love for you to. And if there's anything, of course, we can do, please let us know. Nigeria is here. So Natalie, you work in tech. Tell us about, let's start with the job that you've got today. So you help oversee all that we do with our analysts and with PR. You know, we hear those terms. Let's define what that role is. And then what makes doing that role in a tech company kind of interesting?
Sure, absolutely. So as you know, I'm the Director of Analyst and Public Relations for Rackspace. And basically what that means is I oversee all of our PR initiatives, which is everything that we do with the media.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that I also get to work on contributed articles with you because that's
Yes. We
become
spend
a
a lot
huge
of time together.
which is a huge path for public relations now. And then I also oversee our analyst relations, and that's working with our industry analysts so they understand the story about Rackspace. And so we work on that very hard as well.
That's great. Now, have you always worked in tech, or let's go back to the beginning of the career? Kind of take us through the trajectory. How'd you get
All
here?
right. So I was one of those very fortunate people who went to school for exactly what I wanted to do. So I majored
Wow.
in communications. I know that's crazy, right? And at first, I wanted to be a journalist, which I think anybody who goes into what we do thinks we want to do that. And then I realized that PR people make more money. So
Follow the money.
follow the money. So I switched my major to public relations specifically, and I landed my internship at a advertising agency in Louisville, Kentucky. I went to the
Oh, wow.
University of Louisville. And I worked on everything from bourbon to baseball bats to bowling balls. And so, no, I did not start in tech. And
Did you
then
graduate to anything that started with a C? I mean, that's a lot of B words.
a lot of B words. Yeah. I ended up doing the United States Olympic Committee. That's
Oh, wow.
committee. Yeah. so that was cool too. But when I was at that agency, I started working for a company that made direct access stock trading software. It was a really cool company startup called Tradecast.
Okay.
And their whole goal was to be acquired, which we see a lot in the tech industry. Ameritrade came in and bought that company. And so then I worked for Ameritrade for several years, working on their public relations. And then after that, I went to Fleischman Hillard, and that's what brought me to San Antonio, Texas, and worked for AT&T. And you might have remembered a little product called Yahoo DSL.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yep. So that was really my foray into everything tech with AT&T, what we thought was tech at the time. And then I took a little break from tech and went to an oil refiner called Tesoro Corporation. And
Little company.
little company. And what was cool about that is I really worked a lot on crisis communications. And that's where I got my love actually for crisis communications.
Yeah.
It was a great job. And then I went out on my own. A lot of PR people think, hey, I can do this. Let me just go out on my own for a little while. So I went out.
Everyone needs to stretch their legs.
Yeah, exactly. Go out, do PR events. And I found out being on your own is really hard.
It is. You're responsible for everything. There's no one to help.
Everything.
You aren't working, you aren't earning.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I did that for 2 years and then went to Rackspace. That was my first stint at Rackspace in 2010 to 2013. So I'm a boomerang racker.
Me too.
Yeah, I know you and I were here together the first time around. So
that's right. When did you join Rackspace the first time?
2010.
All right. So you were 2 years behind me. I was 2008.
Yes.
Boy, those were interesting times in tech, weren't they?
They were interesting times in tech. And what was really cool then is that we were really, as you know, at the, forefront of this.
That's right.
And it was cool. It was really cool. We were, taking on who are now our partners now, the giants in tech. And it was a lot of fun. We were scrappy in a startup and really good times. And then my industry started pivoting. And this is really, a big point in my career because I had always done public relations, but then everybody started talking about content and how you needed to be in content. You needed to learn content. And this was the way that we were going to spread, the word. So I left PR briefly and went to an agency called Pace Communications. And my client was USAA here in San Antonio, opened their office locally.
I worked for them for a couple of years.
Yeah. So you know their story. They have a great story. And so we worked really hard telling the story of USAA through content. And this is,
Mm,
what you're very familiar with, Jeff. This is contributed articles, this is
right.
blogs, and really how we use this term in the industry called rope. And that's, report once, publish everywhere. And you see that with me, we
Oh
sit down,
yeah.
think of topics, and then how we can use them for pitching a contributed article, take it to the blog, take
Yep.
it to social, send it out in a press release. So it's really making that one piece of content work really hard for you.
That's great. That's
And
great.
now I'm back at Rackspace.
And then you came back. So
I did.
what drew you back into now? Of course, we think USAA and ultimately they are a financial services organization,
Yeah.
but a ton of tech behind the
Yes,
scenes to make all of that stuff happen. So I don't want to discount that wasn't a tech adventure, but
absolutely.
but let's what drew you back into this world of tech and world of cloud?
Well, I think if once you, because you're just like me, you're a boomerang racker.
Yeah.
Once you've been to Rackspace, you get that bug. There is
Mhm.
something special about rackers. And
Yeah.
so when the opportunity came up for this job at Rackspace, I ran. I didn't walk to come back to Rackspace.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's awesome. So you have had a really interesting career trajectory. Generally speaking, maturing what you started with, and figuring out bourbon and baseballs and anything else with the B or the Olympic Committee, and here you are over at Rackspace. And as we kind of joked about earlier, you and I spend a ton of time together thinking about how we tell that Rackspace story. Now. You've worked in several different industries, but what is it specifically about tech that kind of captures your heart?
Well, tech's exciting. Tech moves quickly, and
Yeah.
we see that on a daily basis. The nice thing about tech is that you're constantly looking at new advancements, new things that we're coming up with to do. Sometimes you're doing, what we think in coding as the wild and crazy.
Yep.
But it's really product solutions that help customers,
Yeah.
our customers, and it's super exciting to tell those stories. I think, one of my favorite things that we do are the case studies and
Mm,
telling, the stories of our customers. And then I take those, and do contributed articles with you. We do
yep.
press releases, and it's really telling the stories of the solutions for the customers and how we help them.
Right, right. Susan Price just mentioning here comes Web 3.0. Oh, what a ride that's going to be. We think about wild and crazy stuff. Hello,
Right.
blockchain. But let's talk about your career a little bit, especially inside of Rackspace, or you can draw it outside if you'd like. And that is, how do you so of course, so you work inside of marketing. You're in the marketing umbrella. The
Yes.
marketing umbrella in most organizations, that tends to be a place where you're going to find more females working. But you're working in an industry, you're working in an organization that tends to be very male led. So how do how does that impact you as an individual, a contributor here at Rackspace working across it? Or I'll even ask, because as a man working with you, I don't get a sense of any of that. We're just team members, just
Right.
working. But how are you successful in that context?
I think it's like you said, we're all just team members.
Yeah.
What we're very fortunate with at Rackspace is that we do have strong female leaders at
Mhm.
all levels. And what really brightens my day is being able to work with these women who are making a difference.
Mhm.
Our CMO, our Chief People Officer, Holly. They're very strong women. And then we also have, as you go into the direct levels of management, really strong women there as well. And so it's like you said, I think we hold our own just fine in a
Yeah.
very male dominated, career.
Right.
For me, it's been incredibly rewarding, and I feel, great support from everybody that I work with.
Well, and I like to ask the question because, my perspective is these are just, everybody is just on the same team. Even if we're in different teams, we're all on the same team getting the job done. But I don't have your specific perspective. So it's why I always like to ask the question of, is it challenging? Are there issues? Or does it just feel like one team? And I'm really glad
It's
to hear you say it feels like a team. That's
absolutely.
That's fantastic. So we get to tell the story of Rackspace to the world, you and I kind of together in a lot of the things that we do. What excites you about tech in the future?
I think it's all of the advancements, every time nothing ever stays the same in tech. And when you look down the road and there are new things happening, things are changing. And you remember, we did OpenStack. We're the company
That's right.
that did OpenStack, and call it, you call and see these exciting things that are going on. Elon Musk, what he just did,
Yeah.
with SpaceX and Ukraine. I mean, we can move
Flips a
so
switch and provides internet to a nation that
I mean,
needs
who
it.
does
Yeah.
that? And these are the tech leaders of the world who can do that, and the things that we can pull off. So for me, that's super exciting.
All
And
right.
so
So that brings me a question. So if you could flip a switch as Natalie Silva and do something amazing in the world with tech, what would that be?
oh gosh, that's a tough question.
I know I did not prepare you for that.
You did not prepare me for that question at all. One of the things, and I'll go to what I'm working on with my ninth grader in school
Mm,
is, a lot of environmental things.
mm.
I think a lot of challenges that we have with the environment right now can be fixed with tech. And so me, Natalie Silva, if I could take on a cause, it would be that, really, how do we bring together all of these tech companies to figure this out?
Yeah.
Because there has to be a way that we can do it. So for me, I think that's one of the big challenges.
I love that. That's a fantastic cause and mission. All right, so we have just a couple of minutes left. So now let's talk to maybe if for a second, maybe some younger girls in high school or even younger who are thinking about what their career is going to be. How do you encourage them here, somebody who's been working in tech for a while, that tech might be a place that they would consider, not be intimidated by, and come in and make a massive impact?
Yeah, and I think sometimes, as girls stay away from STEM. They
Yeah.
think it's really, the boys' journey, which I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And I think I would tell girls to embrace it. The opportunities are there, and to really dig into those areas in school that will lead you to a tech career. Because you can do it, and
Yeah.
you can also do it in, my path, which is through public relations. We were talking earlier about graphic design. The
Hmm.
job market is wide open in tech for all areas for people. So you don't even necessarily have to get, a degree specifically in tech, but just align yourself to the industry.
That is great advice. And I love the fact that you also call out the fact that somebody doesn't necessarily have to go be a coder to work in tech. They can absolutely have a career in and around tech in ways that just like following your career path, or Casey, who will be on here, who's our chief marketing officer, or Holly, who is our chief people officer and HR and legal officer.
Yes.
So there are ways to work in that tech industry and thrive as an individual and make a massive impact. You have a great fan club who's come to encourage you here today.
Yay.
These things up. Casey just commented. Mitch. We've got so many people who are here encouraging you. They love you. You are making a massive impact at Rackspace, and I'm so glad that you were willing to be our first women in tech for the month of March. So thanks so much for
Thank
being
you.
with
I've
us.
really enjoyed being here, and I want to say hi to my fans. As you can see, a lot of people have shaped my career and impacted my life through my career. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you
Awesome.
being here. And thanks, Jeff.
You bet. So everyone, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you will share this episode, whether that's just the audio or you can find these videos over on Rackspace's YouTube. They're easy and well organized. Thank you, Daniel, for doing that for us, or even on LinkedIn, wherever you might want to track it. But let's share this. Let's share this month's stories of these amazing women and their impact they're having in the world through tech. So Natalie, thanks so much for being here today. And thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Jeff.
Folks, we are back on Thursday. We have I have a slide for this. We have Rackspace's own Chief Information Security Officer who is going to be here. That is, let me push this button right here. There we go. That is Karen O'Reilly Smith. She's been on the program before, and she will be here on Thursday. So come hear her story about working deeply in tech, deeply in cyber. We hope that you'll join us. Natalie, have a great day. Everyone, have an amazing day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.